let's talk about Shedeur Sanders, because that's the elephant in the room here. That's absolutely the elephant in the room here, Shedeur Sanders. I know a lot of Giants fans were upset when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. I will say there was definitely I want to touch this very carefully, because let's be honest, I'm not the guy who needs to be having this conversation point blank, but we're going to have it to a certain degree. There's definitely Giants fans that are throwing the whole race situation. Obviously, there's been rumors of years about the Giants not wanting a black quarterback. I don't think in this case that's part of it. I really don't. Um, I feel like nobody wanted him. The big rumor going into this was that would the Giants take him at 3? Would the Giants not take him at 3? Listen, guys, he dropped all the way down to the 5th round. The Cleveland Browns took him. He wasn't even the first quarterback they took. They took Dylan Gabriel before him. Now, what they're saying now is that the Giants had a meeting with Shedeur Sanders. They gave him some homework to do. He flat out didn't do the homework. Brian Daboll called him out for not doing said homework. And then what happened was that Shedeur went back at him. Again, according to reports, obviously I wasn't there. Love to be a fly in the wall for that day. But that's the reports. And listen, if you guys know Brian Daboll's personality whatsoever, I can't speak for the 31 of the teams that passed up on this kid time and time again. Made him from a third overall pick to a day 3 pick. Brian Daboll doesn't take that. Y'all know Brian Daboll that are Giants fans and true Giants fans. He does not take being disrespected very well. He is not going to take things level-headed. If he feels disrespected, he's going to go back at you. And I'm telling you right now that that moment sunk and killed any chances of Shedeur Sanders being a New York Giant right there. And, we talked about we first scouted Shedeur Sanders for you guys, a few months ago when we did our early scouting on all the quarterbacks. We said the most important thing in scouting Shedeur Sanders is the interviews. And we can't be there for that. We said so many times, the interview process. Well, guess what? He bombed the damn interview process. He historically bombed the interview process. Absolutely destroyed any chances of him going early in this draft with the interview process. Again, I can only speak to what happened with him and the Giants. I'm hearing all kinds of rumors that he didn't even want to talk to some teams. He didn't. He was like basically he went to the room with them, was very rude to them. Basically, like do want to give them the time of day. This needs to be a lesson to prospects in the NFL about what to not do. And I feel bad for the kid, to be honest. I think he was given some really bad advice. I really do. By all accounts, he's not a bad kid. I feel like he absolutely went ahead and took advice from his dad, people in his circle, and they led him astray. Flat out led him astray. And he drops all the way down to a 5th round pick. And I feel like what's going to happen now is look at that Browns room of quarterbacks. That Browns room of quarterbacks is legit competition now. All around. Like any of these guys could be the starter, could be the backup, could be cut, and I wouldn't be shocked. Joe Flacco, the one guy I think probably won't get cut because he's experienced. Kenny Pickett, Mr. Tiny Hands himself there. Dylan Gabriel, who got drafted ahead of him. You guys know, watch the show on a regular basis. I am a big fan of Dylan Gabriel. I think he's underrated in this draft. And Shedeur Sanders. Guys, they all can't stay. They can't all stay. Someone's got to go. How would it be if he got cut? Could you imagine that? Going from a 3rd overall pick potentially to being cut flat out. That is absolute insanity, guys. But that's what we're staring at the barrel of in this scenario. We're looking at the potential for him to not even make it out of camp. That's whew. Oh, and don't forget Deshaun Watson's technically still there, I should say, but he's not going to play this year. This is. I'm telling you guys, this is something that I think over the years, big time prospects need to look at what happened in this scenario and need to go ahead and take a look at what not to do. You got to take these interview processes seriously. Okay. You have to go ahead and actually do the homework. Like, could you imagine going at a job interview and going, I know you told me to look this up beforehand, but I just didn't do it. With a team you supposedly wanted to play with. That's the craziest part of this whole scenario. Shedeur is caught on video, and I mean caught on video because we all know that nobody gets caught anything in video. You either let people videotape you don't, typically. Playing catch in the streets of New York with Malik Neighbors. He gets caught with Giants cleats in his locker. This is the one interview out of all the interviews he had that he should be like, you know what? This is where I want to go. I got to ace this thing. And he didn't even do the homework. Again, according to the report. But I think Todd McShay's the one who broke it originally, and you heard a lot of people talk about it. I look at this scenario, and I think Shedeur royally messed up. Absolutely royally messed up. And I'm hoping for his sake that this humbled him into realizing the mistake he made. He takes the anger he probably has, and he turns that into drive and passion to prove everybody wrong. Because I'm rooting for him still. I really am. He's not drafted by an NFC East team or an NFC team, so I can still root for the kid. Listen, if you had to judge me based on the mistakes I made when I was, 21, 22 years old, guys, I was a much different guy 20 years ago. I am not the guy you see before you right now. I was a guy that did not have control over my anger. I was a guy who was extremely immature. I was a guy who was still trying to find out who I was. And much like Shedeur Sanders, I was a guy who let other people to dictate how I did things at times because I didn't know who I was yet. We sometimes forget this kind of stuff, how young these kids are and where we were at their age. Now, I know they have different experiences than we do, and everybody matures, develops mentally at different ages. But again, this wasn't a kid that killed somebody, assaulted a woman, did anything crazy like that. Like, this is not that kind of guy. He made ego mistakes that he was trained to do by the people around him point blank. I feel bad for him. I'm going to be rooting for him, and we'll see what happens. It's going to be hard for me, though, because, again, I'm a Dylan Gabriel fan, and Dylan Gabriel's there, too, as well. But, like I said, I'll definitely be rooting for him, and hopefully he turns that anger, and like I said, into that passion and proves a lot of people wrong. And maybe this is what he needed. Maybe this is that kick in the pants he needed to go ahead and figure out what to do. So,
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.